Bowers finished the 2022 season with 942 yards and 7 touchdowns on 63 receptions. He averaged 15 yards per reception and also added 109 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns on the ground. The tight end formed a solid partnership with quarterback Stetson Bennett as the Bulldogs finished with a 15-0 record. He caught 7 passes for 152 yards in the national championship game against TCU and scored 1 touchdown in a record-breaking 65-7 victory. Bowers has a sturdy 6'4", 230-pound frame, and his explosive athleticism is second to none in this tight end class. Bowers so naturally finds soft spots downfield, and once he has the ball, he's a bear to take down with his speed and physicality. Kyle Pitts was longer and a more refined route runner coming out, but Brock Bowers has similar dynamic upside. He is quick off the snap and even quicker to read run angles, which allows him to square and shed blocks or cut back against leaners. Not only does he play with outstanding play strength, but he also has the contact balance to work his way through traffic to the football. When it comes to what he needs to work on in 2023, Stackhouse must become a better finisher, especially when he reaches the backfield. He will chase down plays and has strong hands to put ball carriers on the ground, but he can improve how he drops his weight to change directions in tight spaces and finish one-on-one. With his explosive nature at the snap and natural strength, Stackhouse is scheme versatile with the skills to two-gap versus the run or anchor down as a nose tackle. Stackhouse won't be a flashy draft pick, but he has all the tools to start early in his NFL career. Georgia had the first defensive tackle drafted in both 2022 and 2023, and Stackhouse should be in at least the conversation to keep that run going in 2024. Here is an extremely explosive center prospect who fires off the line and into the chest of the man across from him. Sedrick Van Pran is a younger prospect at 21 years old and could have made the jump to the draft last year. With him returning to school, he's now arguably the #1 center prospect in the 2024 draft. Van Pran was a big-time recruit out of high school who has elite football IQ and wins with his strength, especially in his lower body. He needs to clean up his hand placement and pad level at the next level, but he has the makings of a starting caliber center sooner rather than later. He was also a bit inconsistent in 2022, and that needs to improve in 2023. The tools of Amarius Mims are super intriguing. He's a former 5-star recruit and was the top-ranked recruit out of Georgia. Mims is every bit of 6'6", 6'7", and 330 pounds with outstanding length, power at contact, and movement skills. The only knock on Mims is the overall or lack thereof body of work. In 2 seasons at the college level, Mims has only 2 starts to his name. The tools are outstanding, but there are questions remaining. Can he sustain high-level play over a full season as the starter? Will he stay at right tackle in 2023 or move to the left side? His hand placement needs more consistency, and he can be over-aggressive at times. However, there is a lot to get excited about when it comes to this guy's upside. At 5'11", 180 pounds, Bullard notched 46 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, 5 passes defended, and 1 fumble recovery in 2022. It should be noted that both of his picks came in the national title game against TCU, where he was named defensive MVP. Javon Bullard is a 2-year contributor at defensive back for the Georgia Bulldogs. He's played safety as well as plenty of nickelback at the collegiate level. He possesses solid height and adequate weight for the defensive back position in the NFL. He's versatile, appearing at cornerback, nickelback, and safety. With many others from Georgia leaving for the NFL draft, Javon Bullard is a natural successor and a name on the rise. Not the biggest recruit for Georgia. He's a guy who's climbed up the ranks, which I think is even more impressive. And he's been kind of the rock of Georgia's defense. This is your boy. I'll throw it to you, man.
He plays a lot taller than he is, and he just has really great instincts, honestly. And I think he can kind of continue to build that those instincts and those abilities with such a great defense and scheme around him. And I think again he's going to kind of fly under the radar this year.
Yeah, you talk about a guy that has big shoes to fill. Keely Ringo is gone, Chris Smith is gone, Jalen Carter gone, but they still have a lot of really good returning players. So Kamari Lassiter is definitely going to get an opportunity to really rise up the draft board, be a day 2 guy. Really definitely a guy to keep an eye out for. Dumas-Johnson is the next great Georgia linebacker, following in the footsteps of past Bulldogs including Roquan Smith and Eagles' Nakobe Dean. In fact, over the past 2 seasons, the only SEC linebacker with a higher grade than Dumas-Johnson is Eagles' 2023 breakout candidate Nakobe Dean, according to PFF. The Hyattsville, Maryland native totaled 70 tackles last year, second best on the team, including 9 for loss with 4 sacks. Dumas-Johnson also deflected 3 passes from his inside linebacker spot while forcing 1 fumble in 15 games. At 6'1", 235 pounds, he may have standard size at the position, but everything else about him screams a star in the making. Dumas-Johnson shows a true nose for the football, excelling when coming downhill to meet a running back in the backfield. The only question for this dude will be his coverage ability as a full-time starter. If it all clicks, I expect this guy to climb up the draft boards. Mondon Jr. has considerable upside and his athleticism is off the charts. Here's a guy who was a 2-sport athlete in high school and comes with a decorated track background. We're talking 6'3", 220 pounds, and a dude can run like a gazelle. I fully expect Mondon Jr. to dominate the draft process and possibly run a 40-yard dash in the 4.4 range. This guy is truly just scratching the surface of his potential. It's important to note that Mondon Jr. didn't just lead the Georgia Bulldogs in tackles last year. He did it while basically skipping all of spring practice in 2022 after being held out with a shoulder injury. His short area burst and controlled strides are elite, with the agility to win one-on-ones, whether as a blitzer or dropper in coverage. Mondon Jr. has a long and lean frame that requires additional weight to be effective at the next level. Another year in the system and a full offseason to continue molding his game, I expect this dude to be a major breakout star. McConkey is the ideal smaller slot receiver for the NFL. His quickness and acceleration are elite, as is his footwork out of his release at the line of scrimmage. This makes for an already polished and deadly route runner who's not just quick either. His long speed and ability to threaten vertically might not be top tier, but it's nothing to sleep on. Almost 50% of his yards in 2022 came after the catch, which only adds to how dangerous he is as a slot receiver when you give this guy some space. On top of all of that, he's also a willing blocker at just 5'11" and 185 pounds. A solid season of limited mistakes and an extension of his ability to make big plays and create yards after the catch will put Ladd McConkey solidly in the top 100 prospects for the 2024 NFL Draft. With a new quarterback starting this year for the Bulldogs, it will be interesting to see how McConkey responds and if he's still the top wide receiver target on the team. Ratledge is one of the 3 full season starters back for Georgia this year on the offensive line. The others being the 2 players to immediate left on the line and center Sedrick Van Pran and left guard Xavier Truss. Ratledge, Van Pran, and Truss are arguably the premier group of interior offensive linemen in 2023. Ratledge's PFF pass blocking grade of 85.6 on true pass sets ranked 2nd best among all guards in the country last year. The redshirt sophomore also only allowed a pressure on 1.4% of his pass blocking snaps, the 3rd lowest rate among Power 5 guards. He ceded a mere 6 pressures and 448 pass block snaps according to Pro Football Focus. Tate Ratledge's physical play style has been a big part of Georgia's success up front. Most notably, his chemistry with Sedrick Van Pran helped Georgia average over 200 yards per game on the ground last year.